Welcome to the top of the morning show. It's your girl TT from the D. Everybody, TGIF. Are y'all excited that it's Friday? Me too. I know. Yes. Woohoo, right? TGIF. Well, in light of it being Friday, I wanted to put something a little heavy on your minds. Not in a bad way, but sometimes we need to talk about things and know about things that aren't always easy. And I want to talk to you guys about something that made headlines because it hit home because I am a parent. And I think that all parents need to hear this if you have a child that is of age where they have a cell phone. You know, there are no real true fireproof ways to make sure that your child does not access certain things or that they don't just get things sent to them. But we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about checking your child's phone from time to time, doing a little inspection, right? So we're going to talk about a young man who was 23. And he's not a little child, but he's a young man, okay? And even at 23, when you're going through things, I mean, life is going to be lifing, as people say. You don't start going through things and then become an adult and just stop. But, people can be cruel. Children can be cruel, but so can adults. And a lot of times people go through things and sometimes they look for a way out to feel better. They want whatever they're going through to just stop. They want the pain to go away. And in today's time, there are so many websites that's unfortunate that are accessible. And there are so many people that belong to these black web, dark web type of groups that some people don't know about or not even aware of. But this young man who ended up committing suicide actually did it, according to his father, through someone suggesting it. I know that sounds alarming and like, oh no, this ain't it. But yeah, you don't always know who your child or children are encountering on the internet. There's so many catfishing and things of that nature, but there are actually people who encourage people to actually end their lives. And I know that sounds crazy. And you're like, nah, yeah. And it doesn't help if your child or children are troubled and going through something or sensitive, right? And a lot of the times people say, well, I didn't even know. I had no clue. And then sometimes people say, well, I was wondering. And I just kind of thought like, oh, no. When it pops in your mind or it lays on your heart, you need to check it out, especially if your child spends an entire day alone in his room playing video games, right? If they're on antidepressants, if they live alone, and these are things we could look at, and you might say, well, my child games all the time. Does that mean that my child's suicidal? No, it doesn't. But is your child a loner? Is your child a person who usually would hang out with a friend or friends and did things and all of a sudden they stopped? That's what I want us to pay attention to. And these phones, they have those phones on them like we did back in the day with beepers. Always next to us in our hand, fall asleep with them, just crazy. But this parent, he said, he noticed those type of behaviors. Yeah. He said he noticed those type of behaviors, and he said eventually he drew a line, and he told his son that, hey, you got to keep up with your household chores and things of that nature, or you're going to have to move out. So I guess his son was like, I'm out of here. So he moved in with his mom and stepfather, and unfortunately, that's where he ended up taking his life. But a lot of times we dismiss things. They're on those phones and like who they're always talking to. I remember about 3 years ago, we discovered that our youngest son was a part of group chats that they weren't inappropriate, but it was like anytime, and this is when the kids were home at, homeschooling because of the COVID. But anytime you can have kids that can just be on the phone or call a phone. And, at the time, my now 14-year-old was like 12, 11. And you getting a phone ringing in your room at midnight on a school night, even though you guys are at home, I had to go and answer the phone. And the voice on the other side was like, hey. And I'm like, hey, who are you looking for? And they asked for him. And I'm like, he's asleep, as you should be. Does your parent know you're calling this late? And they apologized, but I couldn't wait till the next morning to be like, yo, why are your friends thinking it's okay to call your phone so late when you should be asleep? And then from time to time, I randomly would get his phone, unlock your phone. Then they got to the point, it's a universal call. His father, myself, and him share. At any given time, I'm going to give me your phone, because that's when you find things. But sometimes they hide in things and you don't really know, but suicide is real. These things that's going on, there's so many people that lack the emotional growth and intelligence that they don't even know how to put their thoughts and feelings somewhere. And there are actual websites that give you strict details, according to this father, and instructions on various suicide methods. Search engines could try to push these websites down on result pages. However, as long as the sites exist, anyone can find them. And you'd be surprised when you go on your child's phone what they're looking for. And when someone is suicidal, they're susceptible to messages like that, essentially from people that sometimes you got groups that make pacts. A lot of times people are feeling desperate and easily influenced. If you have a child that's influenced easily, you want to talk to them, right? And I think the conversation we need to have as parents about these phones, the internet, the website, all that, is to really talk about what they're going through, allowing them to have a decompression moment. Let's decompress, no questions asked type of moment, within reason, of course, right? Where we're not looking at how to point the finger, but how can we find a resolution, right? And kids are tech savvy now. They more smarter with this technology than we are, but we want our kids to feel comfortable sharing with us and telling us how they feel, where they don't feel judgment passed upon them or shame placed on them. I read something that was just wow moment to me. It was like a wow moment, that how we start in the morning or end our night with our child or children really dictates how they will start their day or end their day. And I felt ashamed, because if you wasn't on point and you ain't getting, I'm on that head in the morning. If you're not on point, I'm on that head at night, but not thinking like that's not what they need to think about, being yelled at or reprimanded at the top of the morning when you want them to have a good day, or you want them to get rest at night, their anxiety or they're feeling a certain way. And I'm thinking like, dang, right? And I think we want to be able to say, I'm here for you to talk. And I think our children want to say, can you listen without yelling or judging? And we as adults have to say, yeah, we can. And yeah, we will. Right? I do want to share this with you. If you know someone that is going through a crisis, If you are going through a crisis, this is not just for children, this is even for adults. There's 24 hours, 7-day a week confidential support via text. Yeah, we've arrived to texting to people that are in crisis. When you text home to 741-741, someone will respond. It kind of breaks my heart to think that we've arrived in a place in time where we don't feel comfortable with just telling someone how we're feeling. Yeah. If you dial 988, it's a national suicide prevention line, right? You can dial 988 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No matter where you are in the world, there's resources. You have Black mental health for African Americans who feel that they want to just talk to someone who can understand from where they're coming from. You have Native American, Indian, Indigenous, Alaskan Natives, the Lifeline, people, 988, right? We have veteran services. You have loss survivors, youth, emotional well-being. You have disaster survivors, LGBTQI. There's so many things, all right? Attempt survivors. Did you know that's a thing? If you attempt it, there is even support for you. That's a whole nother thing. Silence doesn't make you weak, but it also doesn't make you strong. But having a safe space to talk to somebody is going to make you strong. Feeling like you can't because you're worried about someone judging you can tend to make you feel weak. And that's not what we're trying to do, y'all. That's not what we're trying to do. So again, we want to love on our children, love on our young people. But parents, don't be afraid to check them phones. It's your right. And these young adults, if you're listening and you're going through, there's always support out there. If you don't know how to find it and you're struggling, email me, Teresa. It's really Teresa, but people say Teresa, and that's fine. TERESA at TTfromtheD.com. Let me know what you need. If you need support line or support services, even if you want to talk to me. I'm not a licensed therapist, but TT from the D Podcast, we do have our official licensed therapist, Kyra B. I can connect you. I will help you help yourself to be the most amazing person that you are. Well, that's all I have for you on this TGIF. I know I told you it was kind of heavy, but it's something that I think we need to talk about with our young people. And do it with grace and mercy. Until the next time we leave footprints across the sun, it's your girl TT from the D, and I'll see you soon.